Hi, my name is Jessica with Greenleaf Consulting, and today we're going to be doing a quick Databricks demo for loading raw data into a data lake table. And specifically, we're going to be doing that with a flat CSV file. Something similar could obviously be done with Excel or lots of other formats. And what we're going to see is that Databricks can, with its AI assistant and with some of its built-in features, is going to be able to automatically help us get over some common issues that we have in flat files and some problems that I know I've seen when I've used other tools such as Azure Synapse. And instead of the tool being able to handle it, we would have to hand code something to work our way around these kinds of problems with flat files. And even though it's not a difficult thing for us to hand code, if the tool can do it for us, then it saves us a lot of time, and we can use that time um, for for better things. So with that, we'll take a quick look at the data set that we're going to use. It's a data set that is available on the Databricks website in their third-party sample datasets and CSV format page. And specifically, we're going to be looking at the squirrel census. This data is from a website called thesquirrelcensus.com. And you can go to /data. Unfortunately, there only appears to be 1 year of data from 2020 for this. I'm not sure if the project was disbanded after that or what, but we do have a file with around 500 rows or so of squirrel sightings around New York City. And we have the area name, which park it was noted in, things like the primary and highlights in the fur color, what the squirrel was doing at the time of the sighting. And we also have the exact squirrel latitude and squirrel longitude notations. So if we wanted to, we could plot this on a graph. But that's not what we're going to be doing today. So if we go back to our Databricks workspace here, you can see I already have this notebook pulled up. First, we just have a few cells that we would use to clean up and kind of refresh this demo. First, we're going to drop the table if it exists. We actually don't need to run this cell, I believe, because if you drop the catalog with the cascade option on it, it will drop objects underneath the catalog first and then drop the catalog itself. But we'll just do that, run both of those just to make sure we start with a clean workspace over here. These are other attempts for other demos and stuff, so we'll just ignore those for now. But so first, what we'll do is we'll create our catalog. Since we're doing this live demo, not live squirrels, but live demo, we are going to create a catalog called Catalog Live Squirrel Demo. And we can do that just by running this here. Hopefully, refreshing the workspace list will cooperate with me here. So again, now we already have the catalog. We're going to create the schema called Squirrel Data. And with any luck, if I click refresh, there we go. Okay. Now we've got, you can see that here I have the catalog live squirrel demo. Default and information schemas are created when you create the catalog. Here is the squirrel data schema that I had just created with this command right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just click up here to add data, upload to volume. We are going to create a volume since we don't have one created yet for this. And so we are going to use the volume name of squirrel raw data. And so let me just copy and paste that so I spell it correctly. And of course, with creating volumes for inside of schemas and Databricks, that gives us a place to store files as opposed to, so it's outside of a folder that would contain any tables or other database objects. So we'll select this catalog live squirrel demo. We'll select the schema that we created, the squirrel data. We'll just keep the default managed volume for volume type. Click create. And now we'll see that we have that new volume created. We can just go to browse, select files. And as I said, we've already downloaded this CSV file from the Squirrel Census website. We'll click open. and we will upload that into the volume. And now we're still, let's see, there we go. Now we have the volume. Okay, that's the volume we created, and there we can see that CSV file that we added. So now we're just going to set the context for the catalog and schema that we're going to be using here. And then we'll just take a quick preview. We can just read from SQL. We can read from that file, from the file that we have in the volume there. We'll take a look at the data. You can see it's the same data that we saw in the CSV file that we had pulled up in the browser tab before. We can also do the same thing in PySpark. We can load the data to a data frame. So this time I'm reading the entire CSV file from that volume. I'm using the existing headers in that CSV file, and I'm loading it to a data frame. I just always try to notate what the path name is for objects in Databricks. And so the three, the way the namespace works is it goes catalog, schema, volume. So that's just something to keep in mind. So you can see here again, we have just to select from that data frame. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take that data from that data frame, and we're going to try to write it to a table inside of the squirrel data schema. And we're going to just name the table squirrel raw data. And so if we go ahead and we run this, what we're going to see is that we're going to get a failure, and we're going to get a failure on invalid characters found in the name of the columns that are coming from the CSV file. And what you can see is before I even finish talking about that, what Databricks has gone and done, as long as we have the assistant quick fix turned on, it actually automatically will try to attempt to fix quote unquote simple errors in line using suggestions from its AI agent. Now, if this doesn't come up, if this, I believe if the assistant quick fix is not on, you could click diagnose error. And what that would do is that would pop up the AI assistant guy over here, and it would give you a similar rundown of information about what it detected as far as the error, which is always very cool because it would do that context aware of what you have here. And so that's a neat tip if it's not doesn't automatically try to fix it. But so what we can see here is that not only it didn't just go ahead and it didn't just overwrite the code that I had written. What it does is it actually shows you what it was trying to replace and what it's suggesting. So we really kind of get almost like a source control compare here, where red is the original code that I had, and Databricks is suggesting to replace it with a series of replace functions to replace some of the invalid characters that it found, either a space or a dash or parentheses, with underscores. Now, of course, in this case, it's only doing this with the column names that it actually found in this file. So we'll talk about that again shortly. Let me accept and run. And let's see, invalid syntax. I think that it is mad about that. So, okay, it's always kind of funny when the AI assistants will tell you that they fixed something and then cause another error. Let me try that again. Okay, there we go. It just didn't like that. Didn't like that its own suggestion was did not include the carriage return after cleaning up the spaces in the file names. So now we should have that table actually created. And if we go ahead here, well, first, nope, that's still spinning, so we won't mess with the little catalog on the side there. So if we go ahead and we look and we just run a quick SQL query, we can see that now the squirrel raw data table is created. And we can see the difference here is that now all of the things that were spaces, that were blank spaces in the column names, have now been turned into underscores. Somewhere in here, there was some of these column names did have parentheses in them. I'm not sure which column. I'd have to go back and check which columns they were, but those have also been adjusted. I think it was actually the scroll latitude columns, because I think it had the format of the dd dot blah 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 in parentheses. So we also replaced that. So now, as I said, if as always with AI and the AI coding assistants, if we have to be a little bit careful with the suggestions that it makes, because sometimes it will just try to solve the immediate problem and not necessarily give a best practice kind of answer. So for instance, in this case, it only tried to change the spaces in the column names, or the parentheses, whatever it found in that specific file. But if we were trying to actually turn this into some kind of process that would end up running, we probably would want to do something that was a little bit more resilient, something like this, where we're actually trying to replace any non-alphanumeric character except underscores, remove leading trailing underscores, maybe standardized to lowercase, things like that, to that would cover us in the future if if the squirrel census folks decided to add a different special character to the column names. But so to wrap up, that's just a quick way that this is obviously something that we could have gone ahead and once we got that original error for the file names for the Delta table, we could have gone ahead and just tried to write out our own little script to replace the column names. But as you can see, before I even finished talking about it, Databricks had its AI assistant suggest a fix that was close to working. It had the syntax error that I had to clean up there. But that probably could save us if we were doing this in Azure Synapse or another tool that doesn't have that kind of quick AI integration fix. Could have taken us an hour or half an hour to first diagnose what column names were the problem and then to replace them. So that's just a quick tip for today, and that's all we have. Thank you. Bye.